Hello guys, I hope you're doing great. My name is Kian and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Solange just released a new album, When I Get Home, a few days ago. This is an album that I've kind of been waiting for a long time, since the last one. A Seat at the Table, her latest album, was an album that I really loved. It's an album that I go back to really often. It was one of my favorite from this year, from 2016, but also from these last few years. I really think it was a great album. It was beautifully produced. I think her voice is so angelic, it's really beautiful. Everything was quite perfect on this album, to be honest. I absolutely enjoyed it. So I've been looking forward to this new project from Solange for a while now, because she has been teasing it since last September, I think. And Solange, she's an artist that never really disappoints me. I remember the True EP was really good. It was different, it was more pop, but I also really enjoyed this. And a previous album that was released, I think it's around 2006 and maybe 2008, I don't really remember, which was called Solange, was also really good. And all of these albums, all of these projects actually are projects that I go back to very often and that I have a lot of fun listening to. And she really delivers experience, especially with A Seat at the Table. So I'm actually very excited about this new project. When I Get Home is actually kind of an interesting album just when you look at the track list, because if you look at the length of all of the tracks, I think only a few tracks are more than 3 minutes long, and a lot of the tracks are like 1 minute or 2 minutes long. And it's kind of interesting to me because it's something, I don't know if we can call it a trend, but it's something that I've seen a lot of artists do lately, and it's something that I've seen especially in the hip-hop field. Earl Sweatshirt made an album with a lot of very short songs recently. Another great example of that is Tyria Wack. She released an album that was only made of 1 minute songs, and she actually turned it into a visual album, and it was an interesting experience. These albums were nice. It's not something that I've been crazy about very short songs, but I'm really interested to see Solange's take on this concept. Since this is an album with very short tracks and a lot of interludes, I think it's an album, where each song builds into the next one, so I'm gonna try not to stop too much during listening to the album, just to really fully enjoy the interludes and the transitions between each tracks. I know that on The Seat at the Table she did a very great job with transitions. It really built into each other perfectly, so I think it's gonna sound brilliant here too. I just need to say that I really love some of the titles on this album. She has songs called Stay Flow, Almeida, My Skin, My Logo. My Skin, My Logo really reminds me of Fubu on the previous album, For Us by Us. Such a great statement, a very beautiful track. And she also has a song called Done with the Clique. I actually wonder if it's gonna interpolate, or if it's a cover of an Aaliyah song, like the Done with the Clique. Oh yeah, I can't sing, so I'm not gonna try this. So I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna stop the talking now and I'm gonna start reacting to this album. I really hope you enjoy this video and you'll have some reactions of your own to share with me. So I suppose this is kind of like Rise on the previous album, it's the intro. Alright, I know I said I would try to not stop all the time just to really appreciate the transitions between the songs, but I already have a few thoughts about this first track, which is only 2 minutes long. It really reminds me of Rise on the previous album. It was the intro to the entire project, and it really, presented to you this new sound and this new universe Solange had created for us and created for her too. And I feel like Things I Imagine works in the same way. It really presents to us what is about to come. And if we base our expectations on this first track, I think this album is going to be a lot more low-key. It's gonna have more of this low-key approach to it, but also it's gonna experiment a lot more with sounds. I feel like this is where Solange is, like the place where Solange is as an artist right now. She has made a beautiful album that was a great statement with A Seat at the Table, and now she just wants to try to switch things up and experiment with different kinds of music. And this first track, it's really the feeling that it gives me. And it's interesting that she starts the album with a song that is titled and that where the lyrics are things I imagined, they are things I imagined. And especially when you listen to that middle section, it does feel like a dreamy atmosphere. Maybe it's a good indication of what's to come.
And now my heart knows no life. What is true?
So is this an Alia song? I got it. It's a lot more jazzy than the previous album. Just the rhythm, it really more is something you would hear in a jazz song. It's actually a very catchy chorus. I'm impressed at how low-key this is, but at the same time quite catchy too, but not in like the most common sense of the word catchy. Just, this is definitely something that's gonna get stuck in my hair. Damn, I knew each songs were going to build into each other so beautifully, and she really is a master at this. It's, oh god, I really do love a good transition, you know. There really is a very strong hip-hop influence in this album so far. It's like on the previous one you could feel it, especially in the chorus, the way she delivered it. Dun dun with you, dun 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 with you. Like it really felt like her hip-hop chorus. And in this one it's more in the production. There are elements that remind me of old school hip-hop. The bass line just reminds me of G-Funk so bad. It's great actually. It's so vibey, but at the same time I think it's really catchy, and I'm kind of surprised because I did not expect the songs to be that catchy. This verse shows such a different side of Solange's voice, I think. She usually has this very soft voice, and she still has a very soft voice here, but she has more aggressivity in her voice, and it's in her flow really, and it's such a nice surprise. Oh, this is such a nice touch, going from the hey, 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 into the hey, hey, hey. I'm not gonna do like a huge discussion of it, but it was a very nice detail. Let's listen to this again. She could just repeat dreams on the entire track and I'd be fine with it. This was a very uplifting song.
Nothing without
god, this is so hip hop and rap influenced. I love it so much. I love the energy she has on this album. It's like she doesn't give a fuck about anything and she's just having so much fun and it's so cool. She's so proud and comfortable in her own skin, and it's so uplifting to listen to an artist who is so confident like Solange. She has so much to teach us, it's incredible. It kind of sounds like Lil Wayne, like kind of. Whoa, I wonder who that is. It's such an interesting addition to the song. Wait, I'm sorry, I have to stop for a minute because I have to find out who is our person on Almeida. How do I research that? Pitchfork. The fuck I'm doing on Pitchfork. Does anyone have a fucking track list with the credits or something? That is Playboy Cardi. And The Dream is also on the track, and I did not recognize The Dream at all. It's weird because it reminded me of Magnolia a bit, but at the same time, I don't know, it just sounds so different from what Playboy Cardi usually does. I think he's an artist with a lot of potential, especially when you hear him on such a tracks. It also, like, he worked with a lot of different people. I never really gave a very strong listen to his last album, maybe that's my bad, but I listened to his first album on mixtape, the one on Magnolia on it, and Wake Up Like This. But he has so much potential, and this really shows. And I would love for him to experiment a bit more with his sound, it would be very interesting. But in the meantime, it's not about Playboy Cardi, right now it's about Solange, so let's get back into it. I'm ready for that piano voice only song. Is that Sampha? It does sound like it. I love Sampha and I love Sampha and Solange together. Yeah, it's definitely him. Wait. First off, this transition. I will re-listen to this again because this is so beautiful. This track, Time Is, was spectacular. Especially compared to the previous one. The previous one was spectacular too. I mean, so far this album is spectacular. I've never heard the word spectacular so many times in such a short amount of time. It's such a different track from the rest of the album. Time Is comes after Almeida, which is also a very, hip-hop influenced track, and it was also very catchy. Not in the most common of sense. I understand that a lot of people will not think this is catchy, but I personally thought it was. But this track, it just started with the piano at first, and I really thought Solange was going to go with just her on the piano, and it would have been incredible. But then you have this bass that arrives, and then the piano disappears for a little minute, and she's just harmonized to the piano, then to the bass, and just the beginning of the song was so beautiful. And when the beat comes in and Sampha comes in, this is such a beautifully built song. And I think it kind of sums up the album so far. It's, you're listening to something and you're thinking, whoa, this is beautiful, this is very nice. And then they had something else, something that you did not really expect the track and the album to go this way. And it is kind of mind-blowing. Oh, this wasn't expected. Oh, so yeah, they got Gucci Mane on that track. Damn, This album is just so unexpected. I never know what to expect, and it always surprises me. It takes me by surprise totally. And then of course you've got Tyler the Creator coming in out of nowhere. This album is such a trip. I feel like I just listened to 5 songs in one. I gotta say a few things about My Skin, My Logo because this was such an unexpected song. The first part where Solange and Gucci Mane are singing, rapping about each other, it felt so spontaneous in the sense that I felt like they were just in the studio together and they just, you know, improvised this and had a lot of fun, and it really added such a beauty and to this album. It once again was totally unexpected. I don't think I will listen to this song every day, but yeah, it was such a it's a very fun song, and it's nice to have this moment on the album. This is a very romantic song. Getting high each time I hear the transitions, because I might have said this already a dozen times before, but she fucking kills it with the transitions. I love her flow so much. I like that she doesn't go like full rapper mode. She keeps a voice and an identity. She doesn't try to be a totally different artist when she raps.
I say nothing.
This is dreamy. This is the kind of song you listen to on a summer night when you're riding around town with your windows down. It's stunning. This album is such a fucking experience. The production is so refined. It's interesting to listen to because it's kind of quite simple. Like there are not many elements in the productions at the same time, but you just have little elements here and there that makes it very interesting and once again quite unexpected all the time. It really fits the mood of the album. The stars are lining up. Last song on the album. I'll admit it, I haven't paid that much attention to the lyrical content of this album because there was so much to listen to, you know, all the production and everything, the voice, the way Solange delivered the lyrics and everything. So I didn't pay that much attention. I won't be able to do a great analysis of this album. Also, maybe this album wasn't written for me. Solange is a black woman, an Afro-American woman, so I do believe she writes more for her community, and maybe that's why some lyrics didn't touch me the way it would touch other people. However, I think this last song, the closing tracks of the album that is called I'm a Witness. Well, first off, when I read the track list and I saw the last song was called I'm a Witness, I thought this is gonna be such a statement. And I feel like it is, but delivered in a very lucky way. Because on this track she said, I'll be your vessel, I'll do it every time. And you can walk through me. And I felt like maybe this is actually a bit more spiritual, maybe it's about God, but I felt like it maybe was a way to say, well, you know, I am an artist, I have a voice, I have a platform, and I'm lucky to have this. So I will tell you stories, and you know, the stories of a community, the stories of women, and this is what she did actually on the seat at the table, and I paid a lot more attention on the lyrical content on a seat at the table. This felt a bit less political, but maybe it was. I just maybe wasn't paying attention, and I will definitely have to listen to it again. But yeah, this felt like such an interesting statement. So this is it for When I Get Home, and there is so much to unpack, and I don't know if I will be able to, because it was such an experience, this was so unexpected, this was really experimental. It's like nothing I have ever heard. It mixes a lot of different genre and influences together, so many different details, so many different thoughts. It really feels like a flow of consciousness. I've absolutely loved my first listen of When I Get Home, but I am sure the more I will listen to it, the more I will find certain details that will speak to me and that I will really appreciate a lot more. Once again, I think my only point is to say this is a reaction video, so this is me listening to an album for the first time, and it's not gonna stay my point of view on this album for my entire life. It will take more than one listen to truly get into this album. But, well, what first listen though? It was an experience, as I've said. It really was a true experience. Picking an highlight is going to be quite complicated, I will have to say this, but it is such a testament to what a good album it is when it's hard to pick an highlight. I just love the overall vibe of this album. Just Solange not giving a fuck and experimenting and doing whatever the hell she wants and really expressing herself in a manner that is totally hers and not really caring if people will understand what she's trying to say, because she just expresses what she feels. I just loved how hip-hop heavy this album was, how Solange paid tribute to Houston roots. You know, she's from Houston. It's, you know, there's a big hip-hop community there, so I'm sure hip-hop has always been a very, very big part of her life. And the way Solange raps is so beautiful because she just remains herself and she doesn't try to be a rapper. She just, you know, she's herself, and it's so different and it's so beautiful. On the My Skin, My Logo track, it felt like she was trying to do a bit of mumble rap, but in a very own way. It's so hard to conclude this album because there are so many elements to think about, and I'm gonna need to listen to this again to really have a conclusion. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I will truly understand if some people don't really get into this album because it is different from the previous one, even though it's a continuation. In my opinion, it is different. It doesn't sound like anything you would hear on the radio, or it's almost like an UFO, but musically. I had read a lot of people saying that this album was so different that they couldn't really get into because, you know, you couldn't like take one track and take it off the album and just listen to it on a regular basis. When I read like first reviews, like not reviews but thoughts about the album, I thought, maybe she's gonna get fully experimental and I'm not gonna get into it. And I was excited, but I felt that a bit. And no, this is so great. So now it is time for highlights, and as I've said, it's gonna be very hard to pick a few. But I think I will go with Stay Flow because it's really a track that I was listening to and it was so catchy and I really got into it. Done with the Clique kind of works the same. It was great. It really had elements of hip hop, but infused in Solange's style. It was such a nice way to start off the album. Another highlight this time is because I thought it summed up the album perfectly. It's always unexpected, but it really was very cohesive all along, and I love Sampha, so I had to name this an highlight for sure. Alright, my last highlight will be Beltway because I thought it was a simple track. It was very laid back, but it was so visual and I could imagine a story and images coming with this track. So I'm really excited to watch the movie because maybe this track is going to be in it and it's going to give me a totally different feel to it. But yeah, Solange, really, you did such a great job. So this is it for my reaction to When I Get Home by Solange. It was a bit of a mess, but really everything on this album was so unexpected that I didn't exactly how to react to it. I just went with the flow, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, I can totally understand. What I want is to know if you have enjoyed this album, what you think of it. I feel like this is going to be an album that's going to be very divisive. Everybody is not going to agree if they like it, if they think it's great, if you think it's a bit of a mess, if you think, I don't know, just once again go crazy in the comment section, not too crazy. Also once again give me suggestions. I would love to know what you think I should listen to. I'm always looking for new music to listen to. I've said in my previous video about James Blake's album that I will react to Rosalia's music. So if you love Rosalia, please give me a few ideas of songs and music videos I should watch, I should listen to. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you next time, but in the meantime, take care guys.